Having a decent Forstner bit set in your shop offers you a lot more opportunities than just drilling holes. Probably one of the most common things I use my bits for is waste removal. But there's one key feature of a bit that you got to focus on when you're using it for that application. That's what we're going to discuss today. That key feature is this center stabilizing spur. Now, in a previous video I talked about how to sharpen these, and I'll put a link to that in the description down below. But when you're using these, that spur is what keeps it so stable. If it didn't, there's a good chance that these teeth would be biting the wood unevenly, and it would want to torque it this way, that way, and you get a very uneven, rough cut. By having that spur there, that's what stabilizes the whole package. And I do have a love-hate relationship with the Forstner bits that I use, because they have a huge spur in the center section, and that really does poke a hole in there. And I do a lot of fine wood turning where I will use the refined shape of the Forstner bit to create repeatable cuts. So if I'm inlaying a certain thing, I can do a bunch of boxes and inlay all the same shape of items into the top. But that spur digs down so deep, and in that kind of situation where everything's very uniform, I really do like having a smaller center spur, but it's still got to be there. And they do sell kits, Forstner bits, just for turning work that is a little bit smaller, but they're kind of pricey. I don't have those. These right here are just inexpensive Porter cable ones that I got from a big box store. Now, when you're cutting just a normal hole, you might not realize the strength of that center bit because the force is pretty much even. So it just goes straight down into the wood. And once again, that center spur really drives home. By having that deeper spur, it just stabilizes it more. If you didn't have a spur as deep, it wouldn't have as much strength back and forth. And to prove that point, as long as I keep that center spur in the wood, I can actually saw off the side, and how far off the side just depends upon the strength of the wood. If I come in really easily, obviously at this point in time there's a lot more resistance on one side of the bit than the other, but because of that center spur I can continue to go down into the wood. If I were to come in this way and have the spur off, well, that would not be a good thing. In fact, I'll show you what that's like, but I'm not going to hold it with my hand, I'm going to clamp it down. So here we go, clamp down so it's got more holding strength than I could with just my hand. If I come over and I just hit it without that center spur in, see, it jumps. There's nothing stabilizing the cut. Now you might be asking yourself, when would you ever use that kind of cut? Well, how many of us have ever done a half-blind dovetail where we got to remove the waist up to a certain point? Well, if you're doing several case drawers or something like that where you're doing like 6 drawer fronts, a lot of times it's easiest to go ahead and hand cut all the dovetails and then come over to your drill press, and just to get rid of the waste, use a Forstner bit. Now I haven't set the depth stop of my drill bit, so I'm just going to do it by eye, but you can see I can now come all the way down to my baseline very easily and even really get up into that corner, which is so hard to do. Come down to the baseline. Now normally when I do this, since I've got those cuts on the side, I would just come over and get the corners and chop out that front section because it'll just fall out. So pick up a Forstner bit that just about gets you into the 2 corners, and then do your corners. Then chop out the rest of the waist. Sure does make doing half-blind dovetails a lot easier. Here's another example using that center spur to stabilize. You know, the much maligned pocket hole. You can actually get a Forstner bit started, get that thing stabilized, and then just slowly rotate it down. And that center spur bit should stabilize everything until you get to the angle you want. And what do you end up with? A pocket hole. This is just another example that a well-designed tool, every aspect of it has a purpose. You just got to think it through to understand what the engineers were wanting to do with it. And once you do that one, you can apply it to a lot more different things, even if you're using a one-dimensional tool like a Forstner bit. So for today's bonus, let's talk about Tom Fidgen. But before we get there, if you learned something from this video or any of my longer forms videos, you could do me a big favor. Like, favorite, subscribe, but most importantly, tell a friend. And if you want to patronize us a little bit more, you can visit my website, wortheffort.com, where not only do I sell a lot of swag, some of my own artwork, I have some upcoming shop-made tools that'll be there soon, and stickers and stuff like that. And each of those sales really does help me subsidize the time investment to make these kinds of videos. Now back to Tom. I first learned of him from his book, Made by Hand. It was kind of a groundbreaking book because of its timing and his approach to teaching it. I almost want to say he's kind of a next generation James Krenov in the philosophy behind a lot of his work and his thinking. I hate to use the word hipster, but they really did grab on to his ideology. But what I really appreciated is his teaching technique. He did break it down to the very basics, and he gave you some projects that were unlike a lot of the other beginner level projects, because you could really appreciate the design and you could be proud of them. It's not just a birdhouse or a box. And even if you have a little bit more advanced skill set, you can really draw information out of this book. I mean, the way he did it, it's kind of, he was the beginning of this next generation of publishing in this book style, in just the format and styles, offering DVDs, and just a really well done educational book. And he was so well regarded by this effort that he was able to open up a small woodworking school on the northern west coast. That's really been successful from my understanding. Anyways, check him out, Tom Fidgen, and definitely pick up his book, Made by Hand.